Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is the latest dating simulator in the Final Fantasy VII universe where Cloud's true love is stuck in a parallel universe. The gameplay hasn't changed much since Final Fantasy VII Remake, but there are some very welcome changes. The biggest standout to me was the introduction of synergy abilities. During a fight, some abilities that use the ATB will give you synergy counters on the character that used them. Once two characters have enough synergy counters, they can use a synergy ability to deal a decent amount of damage and give the character certain effects like extending an enemy's stagger gauge or granting infinite MP for a certain amount of time. I found that I was switching characters more often during fights to use this new mechanic. And while my main party consisted of Cloud, Barret, and Tifa, the game swaps available party members often enough that you get familiar with each of their playstyles. I do like that each character plays differently enough from one another that they all have their different uses during fights. And during the endgame, each character has a fight tailored to their combat playstyle. Obviously, the biggest change to this game is the open world, which, I have to say, is so damn beautiful. It really is a big change from Remake since we aren't just fighting Shinra now. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of Shinra enemies, but you also have fiends in the open world that you can fight. And each area in the game presents its own enemy sets to fight, and you never get bogged down fighting the same enemies for too long. You also have different modes of traversal in each area. Most of them are just chocobos, but they move around the areas in different ways. Some chocobos can jet across water, whereas others can use mushrooms to reach new places. However, it is still a very linear game if you want to play it that way, but if you do want to do the side activities, they're there for you as well. I generally chose to ignore them because they weren't that exciting and seemed repetitive. It's easy for the open world activities and even the side quests to feel like go here, do the same thing as all the other activities, rinse and repeat. The standout activities for me were the card game Queen's Blood and the strategy game Fort Condor. At least with these side activities, it made you think just a little bit. The main story definitely kept me engaged though. It had a road trip with your party type of vibe, and I was there for it. And it's different enough from the original game that if you have played it, and I urge you to play it before starting the remake trilogy by the way, it will still feel familiar but also different. The pacing can feel off at certain times. It really slowed down a lot between Junin and the Golden Saucer. Also, Chapter 13 is way too long, and for the most part, it's just long, narrow corridors connecting areas to fight in. It just wasn't exciting level design for what should be one of the most exciting parts of the game. And before I move on from the story, I know there's a lot of shit talk in the community about the forced minigames in the story. I absolutely love these. It felt like such a breath of fresh air to see a minigame in the story. As I said before, the world looks absolutely beautiful, and Square Enix never misses when it comes to cutscenes. Each one was enjoyable enough, and the characters had so much personality. I know the original Final Fantasy VII is beloved, but so far I'm having a much better time with the remake trilogy simply for the characters themselves. The music as well is so nice to listen to. It's cool to go to an area and hear how they've evolved the soundtrack from the OG game. And the soundtrack for this game is just so damn good. Overall, I'm giving Final Fantasy VII Rebirth an 8 out of 10. I think it's an amazing game filled with action and adventure. The open world elements could have done with a bit more variety though. If you want to get into the trilogy before Revelation comes out, now is a great time with it being available on every modern platform. And finally, thank you to everyone that has liked, commented, and subscribed, and I will see you on the next one. Peace out.